let the caravan proceed over the Arabian desert. So I come, so I crack the whip of the will of God, so let the consciousness of humanity come into alignment, and let the four lower bodies now be drawn into focus for the perception of the all-seeing eye of God, clear as crystal, clear now as the light that dawns, as the shining light that appears as the sun in her zenith over the desert skies. So let the dream of God for mankind come forth, unobstructed by the human will, unobstructed by the lesser self. So, Chelas of the Most High God, I would represent you before the court of the sacred fire. I would come bearing the scroll of your names, of devotees of the will of the flame. So the mark of the M is the signet that I have placed my seal upon the Chela who is willing to submit to the will of the law of his own being. Why do you rebel against the law when it is the law of your own individuality, as though it were superimposed upon you from without? What folly! What folly to conceive the law as a prison, as bondage, when the law is you. Do you not understand? I say, be shaken then and come into alignment with your own blueprint. You call for the will of God. Well, the will of God calls to you. Well, the will of God makes demands upon you as that star burning within you, as that diamond firelight that compels the planet of your consciousness free. You would be free, but you confuse bondage with freedom. And you seek the bondage of clay vessel while shunning the freedom of the immortal spirit, simply because the immortal spirit would have you and would draw lines of force around your being, whirling electrodes of energy with the exact precision of the geometry of your own God consciousness. And so you rebel against the law, and you think that you are apart from the law. O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you? Who hath bewitched you? Why do you allow the carnal mind and all of the machinations of that energy to deprive you from the awareness of reality, to distort that reality, and to make of the Holy Spirit a hall of mirrors where your form flows to and fro, fat and thin, short and long? You laugh, and yet were you to see on the astral plane the distortion of your own reality because of your failure to submit your energies to the inner polarity, you would see that the caricatures that come across in your daily newspapers are far more in the image of what is acting on the astral plane than you would even imagine. In fact, they are complementary by comparison to the grotesque features and manifestations of mankind who have rebelled against their own inner reality, for they appear as blobs against the screen of life, no form or shape or dimension, for they are in rebellion against the magnet of the great central sun star fire light within. I say then, cease to assign reality to unreality. I say, call for your divine identity as I call the camels to come into alignment. So I say, ho, let your identity now come back. Let it be taken again where it has been taken up by other forces and other sources, where you have been deprived of the magnificence of your individuality. So I stand as the defender of the will of your law, of your being within you. So I say, claim it now, for I claim it in the name of your own inner being. And I pray in the name of your free will and your consciousness, if you will allow me to come into the temple of your being and blaze forth my blue energies for this year, for I would see the year 1975 be anchored within you as the precipitation of this sapphire light, this diamond light, so that the 25-year cycle might manifest within you as a victory and a thrust for an immortal purpose, the purpose of your individual ascension, the purpose of magnetizing the ascension of an entire people, a planet, a home star. This is your home star. Even as you have made it your home, sojourning as you have come as pilgrims from other stars, so I say, let's make it home free in the light. Therefore I say, break the patterns of that rebellion. Cease your warring with your inner self. And now let the harmony of truth bring conformity, and let the soul know the peace of the law of being. Blaze forth, O starfire light of each one. Blaze forth, O starfire light. Burn through and pierce the gloom. Burn through and let that star be the star, as above, so below, of the divine appearing. So I say, let the mother flame now adorn the star within each one, and let these stars converge upon the altar of the sacred fire which I place and I mark at midpoint in this room and in this force field. So let that altar be where you consecrate your destiny, and the star of his appearing to the Ancient of Days, Sanat Kumara, who laid down his life that you also might live in the light. I say, let gratitude abound, for without gratitude there is slovenliness. There is that poverty consciousness. There is the stopping of the flow of abundance, and there is that swinish element of the human consciousness, that point of greed that wants more and more and more and cannot perceive the great gifts that have already been given, that are as the sands of the sea innumerable, as the seed of Christ born by the patriarch Abraham. So are the blessings of light of the Father Alpha unto Omega, unto the sons and daughters of God. I say then, be grateful, O hearts of fire. Be free from the weight and the density. For a moment now experience the reality of the diamond shining mind of God. Come into that oneness. Come into that fire. For I am a devotee of the will of God. I am a devotee of the World Mother and of Gautama Buddha. And I bow before that flame that is the life, universal and triumphant. I am that I am. Now I come before you and I say, I am a guru in search of a Chela. I am seeking out the Chelas, the lost Chelas of the ages, those souls who have been tethered to me and to other members of the hierarchy over the past 50,000 years, who have gone astray, who have taken the path of self-will, self-centeredness, and who have been blinded thereby for thousands of years. Now I am in search of that Chela. Now I come, and I dangle before the Chela the rose of promise, as a fisherman dangles the hook and the bait before the fish. For I am determined to captivate certain hearts upon this planet in this year, certain ones who are twin flames of the ascended hierarchy, who number among you, certain ones who are old souls who ought not to be tarrying here in time and space beyond this period of transition. I cast my net then on the right side of consciousness, the side of the law of being, and I make contact in this moment as I coalesce energies through this messenger and through your heart's own chalice with chelas of the sacred fire, known and unknown to themselves across the planetary body. In every nation I cast forth the net. I send forth the lifeline of the will of God from Darjeeling, from the diamond heart of Moria and of Mary. So I come, and I come with a determination of the Ancient of Days, of 1,000 eyes of God perceiving God in manifestation. And I say, mark you well, this determination will cut through that human consciousness that thinks itself determined, but is no match for the determination of the will of God. So we will see how the free will of an ascended master can magnetize the free will of unascended chelas back to God. I am determined that the consciousness of the chelas will have at least equal opportunity to choose the path of initiation. And therefore, let that light roll. Let it roll now as a steamroller, so let it roll. Let that roll and let it go forth. And none can stay the hand of the determination of the will of God to bring the forces of light, the children of light and the sons and daughters of God, into position in the cosmic mandala for the victory of the age. So I come to acknowledge and bow before Saint-Germain, the Knight Commander, the Magnificent One. So I come to pay homage to the flame of freedom. So I come and I lay my all before the Lords of Karma, and I place the momentum of the ring of fire of my causal body on that altar for and on behalf of the endeavor of Saint-Germain. And I will stand and I will serve and I will crack the whip until the Lord God calls me back. So I will, so I vow, so I am determined to match the light again and again of that star burning within you. So I am determined that none of these which are given into the hand of the Chohan, of the ray of the will of God, will be lost in this age. Will you join me in support of Saint-Germain and the entire ascended hierarchy to captivate souls for light, for victory, and for their own God reality in this year? Will you assist the cause of Saint-Germain? I ask you. Yes. So let that commitment be a rising, standing ovation to the God of freedom, to a planet and a people. I say, bravo, devotees of the fire, for I feel the quickening within you, and I see that quickening, and I see now the tear of the Divine Mother and of the angelic hosts, as your energies have crossed the sound waves, even as the candle of light, as a star of light, reaching far-off worlds, and allowing cosmic councils to know that upon Terra, in this age, there is a band of devotees who will stand for light, who will determine to win in this fight for America, for the world, for every nation, and who will champion the cause of Christ reality in every man, woman, and child upon the planet. Ah, yes, This is a boon to hierarchy. And do you know that by your pledging of your energies, so the ascended masters can go before the court of the sacred fire. The ascended masters can go before cosmic councils and say, we ask for dispensations to serve Terra. And those mighty beings will look upon us with their eyes of flaming coals of fire, and they will say, and what has Terra offered? And we will say, look, the band of devotees, hear their offering, and see how they have come. See how they have gathered in praise of the light and the star burning in the hearts of mankind. So see how in this age there are some who care not for name, for reputation, for fame, who are willing to cast their lot with the ascended hosts, come what may, whatever the description or the conversation of their neighbors, their friends, their relatives, they are standing for God reality. And we shall see, ere this conference has ended, what allotment of cosmic energy can be increased for and on behalf of a planet and a people, because some have come apart, because some have at last seen the light. Do you know that there are angels and ascended masters who have waited 10,000 years for this moment? Do you understand how an angel can shed a tear to behold the labors of 10,000 years of inspiring souls and walking the last mile at your side, step by step, lifetime after lifetime? These angels are emissaries of hierarchies, of other systems of worlds whence you have come. These angels are the angels sent by your own twin flames, many of whom have been ascended for 20,000 years. Therefore I say, come apart and remain apart and be alert to the lies, to the temptations, and to the distortions which would take you from the goal of the ascension. So I say, forevermore I place the stamp and the seal of my M for Moria, the name of a devotee of the Mother Flame. M for Mare, Michael, and the Mother of the Ark. And so, Merlin of old, come forth, Saint-Germain, and let the alchemy of the sacred fire impress upon the etheric bodies that memory of the chalice, the Holy Grail, the search for that Grail, and our coming together once again to draw the knights and ladies of the Table Round into that cosmic purpose. So I say, now let the mandala of the 12 tribes of Israel be manifest. So let the 6-pointed star of victory be for the fulfillment of Alpha and Omega in those ones chosen to realize the flame of reality. So I say now, be numbered among the 144,000, symbolically who come forth in the latter days to keep the flame of the 144,000 virtues of the sacred fire. Ho! Ho! Let the wagon train move on. Ho! Ho! Forward into starlight. Ho! Hail, sons and daughters of flame! I come and I am your knight commander. Could I refrain from coming in support of the flame of the will of God, could I refrain from speaking to seal your vows, your love, your energy, and thus the call does compel the answer, and I place my electronic presence in this room for the duration of this conference, that you might take upon you the mantle of the Aquarian age and of my momentum of the love of freedom enshrined upon this soil, this nation, this continent, and this planetary home. So as you have pledged to me, El Moria, so as you have pledged to me, sons and daughters of fire, I ratify that pledge, and by the momentum of my heart's love, I multiply that effort, and I give my support to Moria for the drawing in of souls, of chelas of the will of God, for the training of those souls, and I bequeath to this messenger now the spirals, coils of energy that are written as glyphs of the sacred fire for the release of advanced lessons of keepers of the flame, which shall and must come forth in this year. So I say, I am here, I am there, and I am in you, the purple fiery heart that merges now with the diamond heart of God, and is the fulfillment of the promise of the will of God and the promise of the seed of Abraham in the Aquarian age. Angels of freedom, seal the planet in the fires of freedom, multiplied and overflowing from the hearts of this, the people of our God.